This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, a Mosgiel mum vents her frustration as able-bodied residents use disability car parks. Thousands call for an end to quarrying on Saddle Hill, and the woman behind the move is positive the DCC will listen. And wet weather isn't deterring young athletes who are using the school holidays to put in the hard yards on the green. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Rebecca Dupree. A Mosgiel mother is furious about ongoing problems with mobility parking. She's angry at able-bodied motorists who illegally use parks for people like her wheelchair-bound daughter. And she says it's those inconsiderate residents who make difficult living even harder.
Mosgiel mother Janine Bolton is naming and shaming locals for poor parking etiquette. She's put photos up online showing people using mobility car parks without permission and says it's an ongoing issue, making life much harder for disabled locals.
Something that can take your average person not even 5 minutes can be a half-hour excursion for some people. That is then made much more difficult if anybody else is parked in those mobility parks who shouldn't be there.
Bolton says the rules around disabled car parks are simple. People can only use them if they have a mobility card displayed in their windscreen. She says they're easy to get and ensure the parks are being used by people who actually need them.
It's not a privilege. It's really about equality. I can guarantee you anybody who gets a mobility card would much rather hand somebody that mobility card and their disability and just go and park in a normal car park.
She says these parking spots mean disabled locals can properly get around the area. The extra width by the parks is crucial for getting in and out of vehicles too. Bolton's heard many excuses for using the parking spaces without permission, with only temporarily needing it a common one.
To believe that that your need is more than somebody else's who has gone through the process, who has applied for the card, who has paid their money and who is displaying it correctly, it's pure arrogance.
Bolton says mobility parking makes life much easier for people like her with disabled kids. So she's hoping locals who needlessly take mobility parks will wake up to the impact they're having and park slightly further away from where they're going to make someone else's life much easier. David DeLorean, 39 Dunedin News.
The council has paid out $46,000 from its flood relief fund to affected residents not otherwise eligible for assistance. There is $133,000 in the fund. To date, 48 people have received varying amounts. About 10 applicants were denied funding as they couldn't prove hardship or were otherwise covered by insurance. The council will give up to $5,000 per person, although no one has received the maximum to date. Money is available for packing and moving household items and up to a week's temporary accommodation. Other associated costs, such as taxi fares from the day of the flooding, are also covered. Most of the fund is from the government. A petition of more than 3,000 signatures has been delivered to the Dunedin City Council. It calls for action over the future quarrying of Saddle Hill, and the local MP behind it is hopeful of a positive outcome.
Dunedin South MP Claire Curran walks into the Civic Centre armed with her Saddle Hill petition signed by just over 3,500 people.
So one of the mechanisms was to ask the City Council to please ask the Environment Court to stop the quarrying, and that's essentially what the petition does. It also asks the council to work alongside the community to look for a long-term solution to the ownership of Saddle Hill.
She started the petition at the end of last year, and it spread from a social media campaign to one that's dominated local shop fronts and business counters.
And there's been a really good response online and also people signing the petitions, and today we gave them to the City Council.
The council's already asked the Environment Court to further consider the quarrying taking place at Saddle Hill and future quarrying guidelines. That's something Curran's grateful for.
We are very thankful to the council for referring the issue back to the Environment Court. So I think we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, but handing these petitions over today does show the council just how much community concern there is out there.
All interested parties are eager for the court's ruling, although it's not known exactly when that will be. But Curran remains optimistic.
And what we're hoping is that they'll say, well, we don't think any more quarrying should occur. I think that's what the community wants.
The council's not in a position to take any further action at present, with everything still very firmly in the court's hands. Rosie Mannins, 39, Dunedin News.
$22,000 in cash has been stolen from a central city business. The money was reportedly taken from a locked office inside a licensed premises on Frederick Street. Police won't identify the business while they search for those responsible. The theft occurred between the 6th and 13th of this month. Nothing else has been reported stolen from the property. Officers say they're following a line of inquiry in relation to the offending, and they ask anyone with information to come forward. Dozens of young golfers are using the end of their school holidays to put in some time on the green. They're braving the wet weather to participate in a junior tournament at St Clair, and it's helping the fledgling athletes take their game to the next level.
Teeing off on damper green than usual, 25 young golfers from around Otago and Southland are giving their all for the St Clair Junior Golf Open. Sport Otago Golf Development Manager Michael Smith's happy to see some of the best young players in the region participating, despite the dreary conditions.
We would have probably 15 of the 25 on single-figure handicaps, and it's sort of the cream of our players in Otago, and they're well prepared. They'll have all the wet weather gear, their umbrellas and all that sort of thing, so they're prepared for this. So you have to be growing up in Otago.
Greater opportunities for young players arise through their participation in this tournament. They can earn a place on the national team travelling to Cambridge later in the year. And Smith says these small events also allow golfers to gather points and rise in rank.
This is also part of what we call the Greg Turner Tour. From this they get points, and the top 12 boys and top 4 girls get a trip away at the end of the year to play at Millbrook and the Hills. And it's a weekend away, all paid for. So they spend a bit of money playing in a lot of these events, so we try and reward them at the end.
He says Otago's got a strong track record for producing talented amateur and professional golfers. And while he'd love to see more girls getting involved, he says overall participation in the sport is good.
The kids that get into it really get into it in depth, so they spend a lot of time practicing. It's a sport that takes up a lot of time. So they spend a lot of time practicing, and they're good. But it's not a huge sport, but we do have, I think we have close to 700 members throughout Otago, so it's not small either.
While these guys are happy playing rain or shine, a scheduled 9-hole competition for under 10s has been canned. But they'll get another chance to hit the green tomorrow, weather dependent. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, we meet the man who's taken on the job of engaging museum visitors through science, and the police and the DCC talk to the organisers of a View Street party.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
Discover New Zealand's most innovative museum, Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. 14 stunning galleries, 3 distinct architectural styles, and a million intriguing stories are yours to discover at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Open daily next to Dunedin Railway Station and with free admission. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
She's 21 metres long with a 6.7 metre beam. She can support diving, seafloor mapping and sampling, deep water measurements, and has onboard laboratories. She has a range of 1,000 nautical miles, which means the Polaris 2 can take your studies further than you ever thought possible. My name's Will Raymond, and this is My Place in the World.
Take your place in the world.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Moving around the corner, overseas, Best Removals Otago Limited, specialists in household removals and business relocations, as well as packing materials, secure storage. Best Removals can do it all. 0800 266 834.
For 30 years, Southern Clams have harvested New Zealand littleneck clams in the coastal waters of Otago. Hand harvesting to order at the right place and time ensures perfection of every clam you eat. New Zealand littleneck clams, harvested for you by Southern Clams.
Welcome back. The local Jenny and Homes franchise has won silver and gold awards in this year's registered Master Builders House of the Year competition. Owners of the Dunedin-based company are also among 3 selected for Jenny's Franchisee of the Year award. Their gold prize is for a Mosgiel show home, which also won the Southern Local category. A Dunedin property won the Silver Award. It's the 3rd consecutive year the franchise has received gold awards in the nationwide competition. Last year, the business was recognised as the most improved Jenny and Homes franchise. And on that note, let's take a look at today's financials. The NZX 50 has closed the day up 18 points. It's now 5,824. The Nikkei is up 100 points. To the exchange rates, and the Kiwi dollar is down against the major currencies we follow. A new position has been created at Otago Museum and a local academic appointed to the role. Dr. Craig Grant is the museum's new Director of Science Engagement, and he joins us to explain the job and what he hopes to achieve. Good evening.
Hi.
Tell us about this new role you've taken on.
Well, it's a Director of Science Engagement at the museum, and it's really to kind of build on a bunch of stuff that they're doing already around the discovery world and just getting kids excited about science, and to really to take that to the next step. So there's plans for a planetarium for the before the end of the year, and then there's a whole bunch of new stuff that government's doing about trying to get communities more engaged in science. So the museum's taken a bit of a lead role in that as well.
What excites you most about this job?
Oh, I mean, it's a passion of the people there. I mean, I think when you grow up, you want to either be a policeman, work in a zoo, or work in a museum, and that combined with the science, it's great. You see the kids come in, you see them get it, and you see them go away just buzzing. So it's seen that experience.
What was your previous job?
I worked just across the road at the University of Otago, so working more in terms of trying to get the researchers connected with companies and regional councils and the like, and helping them with their funding applications. Yeah.
So what do you hope to, or how do you hope to enhance people's museum experience?
Oh, well, I think they have a good experience at the moment, but I mean, I think by bringing in some of the new science activities, the museum's got a really great partnership with the Otago University, with the Dodd Wills Centre, and some of the cool stuff they do around optics and that. It's just really hands-on experience for the kids, and for the general public, for the parents as well, understanding where science is going, new technologies, new techniques.
What are some of the challenges in this role?
Lots. I mean, the time frames for doing a bunch of stuff is a chronic. There's starting a new role is bad enough, but then there's a whole bunch of stuff we're up to try to deliver over the next wee while. One of the big projects is the Otago Participatory Science Project, and the museum's leading that, and that's got to gear up very quickly.
So how do you plan to address those projects?
Take one step at a time. I'm lucky that there's a fantastic team there in the science engagement team, so they basically look after the day-to-day stuff. You know, school holidays at the moment it's organised chaos, but then I'm just working in behind the scenes, if you like, trying to gear up the new initiatives, and it's just trying to keep some momentum behind them.
What's your vision for the museum's science department?
It's really to grow it from where it's come. I mean, I think it's really recognised as a great place to engage in science, and there's just huge opportunities. I think there's more recognition that museums are this hub for the community, and to use that as that kind of infrastructure to where people can come, engage with science, engage with scientists. And I think, you know, taking that not just through to the Otago Museum, but through the network of museums around New Zealand, I think we can have a really kind of expansive role in that regard.
What attracted you to science?
David Attenborough's Life on Earth, and a couple of really good science teachers at school.
Oh, wow. And tell us about your role in the Otago Participatory Science Platform. That's a nasty word.
It's a mouthful, and it's a kind of still a work in progress. It's a project that's really to try to get community groups engaged with science. So how do you connect folks looking at water quality, wildlife, but getting them hooked in with the scientists. And Dunedin and Otago's got some fantastic science capability in museums and the CRIs, and so my role is really to try to make that happen, kick it off, get some momentum behind it, build awareness in the first place. So.
New Director of Science Engagement at Otago Museum, Dr. Craig Grant. Thank you so much for your time. After the break on 39 Dunedin News, police and the council issue a statement about the upcoming View Street Ball, and trash gets upcycled into artwork.
Do you want support for your breathing? You are not alone. In New Zealand, over 600,000 people have some form of breathing difficulty, especially with the high pollen season in New Zealand. Puff Plus is an excellent natural product developed to support lung function and breathing difficulties. Puff Plus is so effective, you get a no questions asked, money back guarantee on the first purchase. Give it a go, you have nothing to lose. Call now, 0800 502 402. Take as directed. If symptoms persist, see your healthcare professional.
Quality Tailors, the alterations specialist, adjusting alterations made to measure. Quality Tailors, fitting needs for over 15 years. Call 477 8028 162 Princess Street, one shop down from Darling Street.
Discover New Zealand's most innovative museum, Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. 14 stunning galleries, 3 distinct architectural styles, and a million intriguing stories are yours to discover at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Open daily next to Dunedin Railway Station and with free admission. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams.
Yeah, we're heading down George Street.
place in the world.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's oat singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's oat singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's oat singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Welcome back. Police and council officers are keeping a close eye on View Street, where a large party is planned to the dismay of neighbours. The party is set to occur at a student flat which has previously been the scene of drunken disorder. Occupants sent a notice to neighbours saying they're having a ball complete with a live band, but they claim numbers will be capped and the event will end at midnight. Police and council staff have issued a joint statement in response to complaints about the party. They've spoken with organisers about whether the event is subject to the Sale and Supply of Alcohol Act, and they'll closely monitor the event to ensure neighbours aren't subject to excess noise or disturbance. Cricketer Jesse Ryder is leaving Otago. The trouble-prone athlete is signed with Central Districts for the coming season. He was with Otago for 2 seasons and played very little. Central Districts is his home turf. He's currently playing in England. The former Black Cap has played more than 100 domestic matches. The best recycled art in the city has been revealed. A collaborative contest between Keep Dunedin Beautiful and Cadbury has been challenging kids to upcycle trash into artworks, and the competition has come with some serious messages.
To the victor go the spoils. Kids pose for a celebratory photo after winning in the Recyclia art contest. Keep Dunedin Beautiful coordinator Darlene Thompson says this year's recycled art has been exceptional.
So our group artwork was won by the Armitage, which is packed. It's all done anonymously. They were also second in the People's Choice Award. So I mean, to me that's marvellous. The top award, which was People's Choice and the Judge's Choice, went to the Liberton Christian School, Room 1.
More than 30 pieces of art have been entered in this year's contest, with half of them coming from first-time entrants. Thompson says competition entries have ranged from simple to complex, and judges say some of them belong in an art gallery. Some of the pieces have proved to be quite thought-provoking for the public too.
One of our winners was a penguin, and the judges said, you know, it was not just an artwork, but it really did have a recycling and environmental message, because they used all the plastic that can kill marine life and made it into their artwork. So it's a really good environmental message, and that came through in several others.
Thompson says the contest's making a difference to the environment. Besides promoting recycling, entrants pledge to reduce their waste. Thompson says they're messages that stick.
In fact, one of our youngest entries and winners, Ashton, he won last year, and within a day broke his goggles, and instead of throwing them out, he said to his mum, I'm going to keep these till next year's art competition. So I mean, that's a whole year, and this is a 6-year-old thinking this.
The award winners are celebrating successfully creating some unique, beautiful artwork, and competition organisers are hopeful that'll translate into a cleaner, more beautiful Dunedin as well. David DeLorean, 39, Dunedin News.
While chocolate is the main focus of this week's Cadbury Carnival, some of Dunedin's top chefs are expanding people's palates. 4 local chefs are running cooking classes for residents, working with chocolate as well as other ingredients. A capacity crowd of 300 people attended the first class last night at the Kings and Queens Performing Arts Centre. Chef Michael Coughlin created a bread and butter pudding and demonstrated how to properly melt and work with chocolate. And James Musk made a chocolate brioche and donut, then used the brioche for French toast with caramelised bananas. Tonight's class is also reaching capacity and will feature 2 different local chefs. And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. A Mosgiel mother is livid over mobility parking problems as able-bodied motorists illegally use spaces, making life harder for the disabled. A petition with more than 3,000 signatures calls for the City Council to help mitigate concerns over the future quarrying of Saddle Hill. And junior golfers are teeing off at St Clair, undeterred by the wet weather as they aim for positions on a national team set to compete overseas. It's time now for a look at what's going to be in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and Bruce Query joins me. Good evening.
Good evening, Rebecca. The cost of those floods in Dunedin last month, they're still counting the cost, and the Insurance Council says that claims have now reached $28 million, but there are warnings that many people who have been affected haven't come forward yet, so the costs could continue to rise. A new South Island graduate school training information and communications technology students is going to set up a satellite school in Dunedin. We don't know the numbers of the staff and students, but for the South Island for next year it could be about 46 students, and that doesn't include the international students. A Dunedin band, The Clean, has been nominated for a Missing 1981 Music Award, which will be awarded retrospectively. And a company's been fined for adding extra rooms to a student flat in Dunedin, plus the judge has issued a warning about poor dairying practices after some farmers have been fined in the Environment Court.
Oh, that's no good. Well, details on tomorrow's ODT. Thank you, Bruce. Time now for local weather.
Is proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn's Puff Plus.
And here is today's city view. It's taken of mist in the pine trees. And around the city at 3 o'clock today, not very warm at all. 6 degrees for the central city and the gardens, 8 for the Tyree. Bruce's snowman is almost melted as well. Looking at the situation, and an active low pressure system will move over the South Island at the weekend with a much colder southwest flow developing. To the forecast for the main towns in the lower South Island for tomorrow, strong nor'westers and rain developing in Invercargill, 10 degrees there. And for Alexandra, nor'westers with high cloud increasing and a high of 12. Strong nor'westers for Queenstown with a cloud increasing there. Nor'westers and high cloud increasing for Oamaru, Wanaka and Twizel, and highs for these towns are between 10 and 12 degrees. And Dunedin tonight becoming fine with an overnight low of 4. Tomorrow fine with high cloud increasing and westerlies slowly freshening, going for 10 degrees. And on Saturday, a period of snow and sleet in the morning with cold southwesters, but clearing in the afternoon, a high of 7. And to the Southern Clams tidal and fishing information, low tide tomorrow morning is at 10 past 11 and high tide follows at 10 to 5. And fishing conditions are good tomorrow, especially around 1:30 in the afternoon. And that is local news for Thursday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
How it hangs on down, all the way to the ground. They stare at you, my candy girl. I'm frozen in your spot.
Welcome to Southern Attractions. Over the next half hour, we'll take you on a virtual tour of the historic city of Dunedin and its magnificent wild landscapes. We'll introduce you to many of the features that make this place so welcoming to visitors. And we hope this show will help you decide how to enjoy our city's many attractions and inform you more about Dunedin and Otago. At 46 degrees south, About halfway between the equator and the South Pole sits Dunedin, also known as the Edinburgh of the South, or colloquially as Dunners, and the Maori name is Ōtepoti. It's the second largest city in the South Island of New Zealand and the principal city of the Otago region. It's considered to be one of the 4 main urban centres of New Zealand for historic, cultural and geographic reasons. The Dunedin urban area